This is the Logitech RS50. I'm telling you right now, this is going to shake things up. Logitech sent the RS50 for review. I also have an affiliate link below if you want to help the channel out. But as always, I say what I want. They have zero input in this video. The RS50, as the name suggests, it's going to be an 8 Newton meter wheelbase. If they ever release something like the RS80, that will be around 2 Newton meters, because I think Logitech, with this naming convention, is trying to apply the same logic as they did with the GT2 cars and apply it to sim racing. Very nice. This new wheelbase doesn't come alone. It's part of a new release cycle, or bigger one, that includes, of course, the wheelbase, the RS pedals, new ones very similar to the CSL pedals, the RS table clamp, and then the McLaren collection. The papaya rules that 3 new pieces of kit would come out with their name, and that includes the Astro A50 headphones, the Playseat Formula Instinct McLaren Racing Edition, and then the biggest waste of a collaboration ever, the Logitech GRS Formula Wheel McLaren Racing Edition, which is a wheel that you slap on top of the Logitech RS hub. Apparently, the ergonomics are modeled out of the Formula 1 F1 steering wheel from 2024 or 2025, but you have to remember, the Fanatec McLaren 650 GT3 wheel died, so you can have that hub. Very exciting, and I definitely should have known better. For this review, I have the RS50 wheelbase and the table clamp. Unfortunately, I didn't have access to a review unit of the pedals or anything else from the McLaren collection. Before going to the rest of the review, a big thank you to all the subscribers and members of the channel. Without you, getting these review units, especially before big launches like this, wouldn't be possible. I'm trying to get 100,000 subscribers. That is really not far away, and I promise you that pressing like and subscribe will be far more useful than the McLaren collaboration with Logitech. Thank you so much. For the more serious part of the video, but really not that much more serious, I'm telling you that this wheelbase is going to shake things up for very good reasons, because it is especially aimed at the Fanatec DD Pro, with some collateral damage falling on the PC side towards the Simagic Evo, especially the Sport, and also, if you consider Thrustmaster, the T598. Much like the Logitech Pro we have reviewed in the past, there are 2 versions of the RS50. You can make any of these 2 compatible with the Xbox by getting the appropriate wheel rim with the Xbox compatibility. In the case of the PlayStation, the chip is in the wheelbase, and in the case of the Xbox, generally it tends to be on the wheel rim. This one would be, for example, compatible with the Xbox. Let's start with the pricing for the wheelbase alone, and this is going to be very interesting. For the PC version, it is 299 euros or $349. But for the PlayStation, get ready, because this is super interesting. It will be 399 euros or $449. This undercuts the DD Pro wheelbase, only the 8 Nm version, by around 200 euros. It is massive. Then there are the pedals, which I don't have access here. They are a load cell. They come with a load cell already, and they will be 150 euros or $160. Then you can buy the clutch separately. That will be 50 euro or $50. As for the clamp, when bought separately, it will be around 30 euro. There's also a RS50 system bundle that comes with the RS hub, wheelbase, and clamp, with the price of 649 euros or $699 for both PlayStation and Xbox. They have exactly the same pricing. So this is the bundle without the pedals. You add the pedal set, and that will be $150 extra or 150 euros. And when you put everything together, it is basically the same price as the DD Pro minus, I suppose, 10 euros, with the difference that this will have a load cell. If you then add the clutch and you put everything together and you compare apples to apples, this model, the RS50 system with the pedal set, will be around 100 euros less. Logitech will also offer on their website a configurator so you can Pikachu your experience. There's more to talk about value of this wheelbase in general, but I'll leave that at the end. Let's start with the unboxing experience. It's a complete 180 from the Pro in everything. The box is small, very, very small, and it has a big emphasis in recycling because everything is paper in that box. I really appreciate it because it's much, much better than have plastic bags everywhere. Inside, there's a new and also small 130 watts power supply, some fittings, and of course the wheelbase that goes against everything the Pro is. The Pro made the BMW M8 look like a small hatchback. While the RS50 is not the smallest wheelbase around, it is roughly the size of the CSLDD with some hints of that wheelbase in the build as well. And it's also quite short. It is taller than the R12, shorter than the Simagic. The main case is aluminum with a plastic front and back. The case is ribbed for her cooling, necessary in such a small footprint, and also if you connect it to your sim rig will also act as a heat sink. In the front, there's a small OLED screen to control some of the settings on the fly, a button at the side of the OLED screen to activate the settings. At the back, you have the power button and something that makes me happy, your USB-C connection instead of that stupid micro USB from the Pro. And there's also something for all of you millennials, including myself, that like a little bit of nostalgia, a power supply connector that looks like a PS2 mouse and keyboard connector. The previous barrel connector was tragic. This one isn't really going anywhere. Then some USB ports for the Logitech peripherals only. This wheelbase doesn't work as a USB hub. That would take, I was informed, a messy regulatory process to be accepted by the console manufacturers, which I expect nobody can be bothered with and nobody has time for that. At the bottom, something else inspired by the Fanatec CSLDD. There's rails for nuts compatible with the Fanatec pattern, or if you shorten it up, it will be compatible with the Mazda R3 pattern as well. That is really cool. As you would expect, the installation is fairly straightforward. For the rig, half thread these nuts and slide them in the wheelbase rails. I must say that the rails lips are a little bit taller than the CSLDD, so I needed to mess about with the nuts a little bit. The box comes with these tools to center the nuts, but I found that that does exactly zero to help. For the clamp is really super easy. There's 4 bolt holes, just get the wheelbase belly up and attach. In both cases, it attaches strongly. The desk clamp is strong, like really strong. I was able to lift the desk with it. It's absolutely bonkers. The last point is, of course, the quick release, which is Logitech's own, and I never had a problem with it. It attaches conveniently, it attaches strongly, and it doesn't move anywhere. There's no side-to-side flex. It might not be the strongest out there, but there's really nothing wrong with it. I have to say that this wheelbase is rather well made. I believe they probably took a lot of criticisms and hints from everywhere, and hopefully, I suppose, some of my strongest jokes directly against them, and they picked everything up and made something completely different from the Pro. Looking at this design, because it's so compact, I could say that it can be expanded just like the CSLDD expanded into the Fanatec DD Pro and probably give either smaller wheelbases or longer, stronger wheelbases. But of course, if they ever release it, it's gonna take at least 3 years because it's Logitech. As for specifications, this is a 8 Nm wheelbase, as I have mentioned, and this is TrueForce enabled. Basically, it's an haptic system directly into your shaft that will give you effects that are normally not felt with force feedback, and the effects that were really great on a Pro also translates just a little bit differently into the RS50. It also has a maximum rotation range of 2700 degrees, an increase from the Pro's 1080. TrueForce, due to its design as cables connected to the shaft, there's always then a physical limit to how much it can rotate. This is a custom in-runner motor that is paired to a 16-bit encoder. When the Simagic Evo family came out, everybody was raving about of how cogless and how low inertia it felt, and oh my god, this is fantastic. And the RS50 is very similar to it, not in the cogless department, because I think the Neo is just a little bit less cogless, but you know, they are very, very similar. One thing is, of course, talking about the wheelbase in terms of numbers or in terms of physical format. Another thing is to use the wheelbase, and that starts with the software, which will be the Logitech Ghub, that a lot of people don't like it. sometimes even myself. The settings that you're going to have are really the same settings you can have on the wheelbase. They're very, very little. You have strength, dampener, filter, and also TrueForce volume. Everything that you can do on the Ghub, you can do it on the wheelbase. And you can also save some of your profiles into 5 memory slots available in the hardware itself. You can use the ones from Ghub, you can use ones from your own preference. Now, for a lot of you, having such a simple selection will hit the G spot. But for those of you who want a little more complication, a little more detail in your force feedback or changing more things, you won't find it. In terms of experience, I wasn't really sure what to expect about this wheelbase because I like the Pro a lot. I mean, a lot. I like its effects, I like its strength and the way it gives the force feedback, but the shaft does not respond in the same way. It's very low inertia, very low cogging. It's very reminiscent of the Simagic Evo Sport that I have to use, or I did use, and I still have to try the new updates because there's very low cogging and there's very low inertia, not as low cogging as the Simagic. So you put everything together, you wouldn't expect, I didn't know what to expect about this wheelbase. So starting with iRacing, and it was definitely a revelation. It gives a bit of a Simagic vibes, but with its own sort of taste. And that taste is their own Logitech thing and also the TrueForce that you are able to have in this wheelbase. And it doesn't mind to be used at 100% as well. Not only this is a really fast and responsive wheelbase, but there's also something different with this new generation of small wheelbases that I'm seeing everywhere, even ones that I haven't tried, where there's very low cogging and low inertia on the shaft, like these new motors went to some sort of agility and acceleration drill, because before, like 2-3 years ago, it was nothing of the sort. Because of that change, the bump effects, the changes of direction, and small details are felt through with such detail that I wasn't expecting from wheelbases of this size. And then the TrueForce effects, even though they don't feel the same as the Pro, even though they have less strength, I also find they have a little more finesse. There's this small graininess when the discs are rotating that changes the pitch when the tires are locked. It's very useful stuff. It's strong enough to be felt, but it's also subtle enough to not be annoying. But of course, you can change that in the volume or also in the iRacing software to make it more to your taste. It's good to have such a free-flowing wheelbase like this, even though it's not very high-powered, all things considered nowadays, but it's so fast, and you add an extra flavor, an extra layer into your force feedback. I do really appreciate a lot TrueForce. As going for ACC, there's something that I need to mention is that there's a bug with the software at the moment that Kunos needs to fix. It's the only software that had any issues at all, and it's basically about the steering scaling. You need to increase it to 200 to have it almost 1-to-1. But in terms of force feedback effects, it didn't change a lot. And I can tell you that once again, I was shocked to feel that the force feedback does feel different from everything else that I've tried. If you know my opinions of the Assetto Corsa Competizione force feedback, I always talk that it has a very dampened feel. No matter what the wheelbase is, everything out there will have lots and lots of dampening. So my shock, once again, when I found that the force feedback on this wheelbase is different. It feels less dampened than the Fanatec, the Simagic. For some reason, I don't understand. Maybe it's related to the scaling, maybe it's not. But it did feel that it was incredibly freer than in every other force feedback out there. For the OG Assetto Corsa, it feels no more no less than any other wheelbase with the added Logitech feeling that you'd be seeing present on the Pro. It has good details, good force, good responsiveness, though I think that the wheelbase system that does it better for this title, especially for drifting, is still Simagic. Evo is actually a really good experience as well. I think it's one of the best experiences I've had with this title in any wheels. TrueForce in this title feels a little more tinny, a little bit too in your face than normal, but you can increase or decrease the volume of it and configure it to your own taste. The last PC title that I've tried with this wheelbase was Le Mans Ultimate, and once again, this wheelbase shows all of its pedigree. It's super fast, super responsive, it picks up all the details. I wish it had TrueForce, it would add even more into it. And I cannot say that this wheelbase is any worse than even, you know, higher powered wheelbases in terms of detail. It's a really, really good experience. A lot of people will buy this for the console, so I tried it in Gran Turismo 7. I wish I had time for more, and it's really good. Though I have to mention one thing, you do need to raise in-game the gain to 10, while for some reason in the Club Sport DD Plus or even on the DD Pro, that wasn't really that necessary. For this wheelbase, you do need to put it on 10. Maybe there's a firmware update to be done in the future to change thereabouts. But what I felt was really, really good. It has the experience that I define as the standard Gran Turismo 7 force feedback experience. Not better, not worse than the Logitech Pro or even Fanatec DD Plus. Of course, this will be lower in strength. But critically, it feels a notch above the Fanatec DD Pro. And that makes a huge difference in recommending one over the other. And this one has TrueForce, which in Gran Turismo 7, I think it's where it's more implemented or implemented better than on the PC counterparts. There's just more stuff coming through that adding to the quality of the force feedback. It makes the force feedback experience transformative, in my opinion. Conclusion time, the RS50 is an excellent wheelbase for its size, price, and power. The 8 Nm are felt, it feels strong, TrueForce helps a lot. And best of all, it is a consistent wheelbase in all the sims. Consistently, it provides an excellent experience. This wheelbase felt free to move. It felt very low dampening. You can add dampening if you want to, and that helps a lot with the movement. It can basically adapt to your style. Even though there's not a lot of options on the software side of it, it never overheated on me. Of course, your experience may vary, like it happens in all of these small wheelbases. And consistency was what I found impressive on this wheelbase, which oftentimes is really not the case with some smaller wheelbases. And looking at this small wheelbase, the RS50, and looking at the Pro, then you would think, well, they should really redo the Pro with the RS50 standard. And I say this because building a wheelbase that is this good and this consistent and then leaving it as an evolutionary dead end without offering more power or less power or more or less options than the 8 Nm, it is a huge shot in the foot. So Logitech, don't do it. Offer more of these. The RS50 not only is interesting in the price and force feedback quality, but it's also more interesting than that because of where it operates in terms of the market. Its natural competitor will be the Fanatec DD Pro because of PlayStation compatibility. And in my opinion, this wheelbase is better while undercutting it. Logitech's current available wheels are generally better quality than the one that is available on the DD Pro wheel, though Fanatec does have more choice in the ecosystem, and that includes also better pedals and a more expansive peripheral base that includes a shifter, something that Logitech for some reason forgets to implement. They add the new handbrake / sequential, but no weight shifter. I don't know what the hell they're doing. If you're thinking of using a quick release for the wheelbase, in this case you want to use it on the PC and then open up the possibilities that are available for you. And that means you can have like a very good wheelbase system for not much money. You can, for example, use for this wheelbase something like a GT Neo that will be lighter than the GXL option that I used, and also you can use the Hoisingval clones like the Simruitos or the Simpsons that are available out there. I'll be having one of those for review, so subscribe to keep up to date. Since we mentioned Simagic in this review, it is a very good competition for the PC against the RS50, though I found that the RS50 is more consistent in all the sims, with the opportunity, of course, of using it on a PlayStation. The Neo or Evo series is not available at the moment for the PlayStation. The Sigma Cortex is not compatible just yet, but Simagic does have a better ecosystem. Here's the thing about this wheelbase. Would they offer better options on the software and a 15 Nm version of the RS50? it would be very likely that I would trade my Fanatec Club Sport DD Plus for that. And that is saying something. But anyways, I would like to see your thoughts below. Leave them in the comments.